Ministry of Justice can provide you with that, and I will make sure that I write to them and ask them to write to you.
Thank you very much.
My concern is when you look at the timeline in this report of how many supposed interventions we have had in this country.
Look, I don't need to wait for an inquiry to and actually setting up the primary and I think she tried to express this earlier.
Jess Phillips just admitted on national television that she doesn't even have the details to back her claims. How can a leader speak about critical issues like violence against women and girls without knowing the budget breakdown? Does this signal incompetence, or is there something deeper going on? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
There is absolutely no reason why any of that has to wait for, finding, and actually, like she said, she envisages them working together. And if Louise could only have had one thing, if she'd only been offered one rather than all 12 of the recommendations, she would have taken the National Police one. I think that is like her sort of clear line from. There is. I will not wait, and I have to say the department hasn't waited for findings of an inquiry.
Jess Phillips's laughter during a tense discussion about the spending review has sparked outrage across the country. The moment, caught on camera, juxtaposed her light-hearted chuckle against the grim reality of what was being debated: vital funding to tackle violence against women and girls. Imagine the scene: a parliamentary meeting where the stakes couldn't be higher, and then a laugh cuts through the gravity of the issue. It jarred viewers, making many wonder if she truly grasped the seriousness of the matter. But this wasn't just about a momentary lapse in decorum. For many, it symbolized something far more troubling. The backdrop for this controversy was a critical conversation about addressing the crisis of violence against women. The spending review, a cornerstone for public safety and resources, was under scrutiny. Millions depend on these budgets to ensure access to shelters, legal aid, and support services. Yet, in the middle of such an essential topic, Phillips found herself struggling to provide clarity or specifics. When pressed, she admitted outright that she didn't have the detailed numbers, stating, "I might not have the full specifics of the budget to hand." For any leader, such an admission would raise eyebrows. How could someone in her position, not just a backbencher but an outspoken advocate, approach such a critical issue so seemingly unprepared?
Those things all go on. And policy changes will, it's the same, I suppose, with the Angelini inquiry. So the Angelini inquiry, by the way, not a statutory inquiry or one that has struggled to get access to any data. Getting on with the work that needs doing, whether that's TOEX, the task force that leads on this, whether that's other interventions that we fund in the policing space or the support space. But the Angelini inquiry into the death of Sarah Everard runs alongside the violence against women and girls strategy being written, and I'm not holding anything back.
And then there's the emotional cost of moments like these. What message does it send to survivors of violence watching at home, hoping for assurance that their struggles are being taken seriously? When asked tough questions, voters expect leadership that rises to the occasion, not laughter that appears to dismiss the weight of their concerns. These reactions have fueled a firestorm. Social media platforms buzzed with angry comments, many expressing shock and calling her behavior an embarrassing failure. Some critics, including experts, labeled her laughter not just insensitive but a clear indicator of her unsuitability for such a demanding role. For the creator of this video, the moment feels like a tipping point. The laugh wasn't just inappropriate, it exposed a deeper pattern. A leader doesn't just react to a crisis, they prepare for it. So, does this gaffe stand isolated, or is it proof of larger failings? Jess Phillips's admission that she lacked the necessary budget details wasn't just an oversight, it was an indictment of her preparedness for the role she holds. When addressing issues as critical as violence against women and girls, knowing the numbers isn't optional, it's foundational. Budgets determine the reach of services, like safe housing for survivors or funding for crisis hotlines. Without a firm grasp of how much is available or how it will be allocated, how can any leader confidently advocate for real change? It's not just about governance, it's about trust. And in that moment, she seemed unready to earn either. This isn't the first time that insufficient preparation has highlighted cracks in political leadership. Recall other incidents, like Diane Abbott's infamous misstep in delivering cost estimates during a live interview, which turned public sympathy into skepticism almost overnight. These moments stick, not because mistakes are unforgivable, but because they reveal an unsettling trend. When leaders lack preparation, it can echo incompetence. For Phillips, who has built her profile as a champion for victims, the inability to present concrete figures feels particularly damaging. It undercuts the credibility of her advocacy and leaves her vulnerable to accusations of performative politics rather than substantive leadership. Critics argue that this moment wasn't unique for her. Whether it's her penchant for relying on anecdotal flair instead of statistical backing or her casual on-screen demeanor during critical debates, a pattern begins to emerge. These traits might resonate with audiences during light subjects, but they falter when discussing life or death issues. British politics needs leaders who rise to the occasion, especially now, when public faith in governance has been deeply fractured. Phillips's display, her laugh, her admission, leaves ordinary citizens frustrated and worse, disillusioned. Some might defend her, suggesting that specific figures don't always define capability or that everyone has off days. But this feels different. The stakes are too high. Resignation isn't simply punishment, it's a step toward restoring standards. If the public doesn't demand accountability now, then when? Leadership must meet a higher bar, and the power to enforce that lies firmly with the people. Moments like these highlight why accountability in leadership is non-negotiable. When public trust erodes, it isn't just about one individual, it undermines the entire foundation of good governance. Jess Phillips's actions reflect a broader issue. What standards do we hold for public figures, and how do we address failures when they arise? Resignation sends a message that voters won't tolerate unprepared or dismissive behavior, especially on life-altering issues. But it doesn't stop there. Now it's up to viewers like you to reflect, engage, and demand better. Share your thoughts below. Your voice plays a vital role in driving accountability and change.